I won't make it easy for you now. You got 2 minutes of my time, and I don't really break too easily, but I'm worth it, 'cause I'll slip into your dreams tonight. Oh, so give me your all. I'll take it to Mars. Oh, I'll stick like glue inside your mind. Oh, so give me your all. I'll take it to Mars. Oh, I'll stick like glue inside your mind.
Just watch me. Just watch me.
I got you wrapped around my finger, but don't you try to call me tomorrow. There's nothing personal in having a little fun. You wait and see if it's worth your while. So give me your all. I'll take it to Mars. Oh, I'll stick like glue inside your mind.
Just watch me.
Give me your all. I'll take it to Mars. Oh, I'll stick like glue inside your mind.
Just watch me. Just watch me. Just watch me. Just watch me.
Last night we had something. Tonight I'll be guessing, but I don't really have a case. You don't have to mention, you just like their attention. It's written all over your face. I don't wanna play the quiet type when I'm near you, reading old messages on my phone every time I see you. Tell me, is this part of an act, just to keep your image intact? If you think that strategy's smart, I'm not gonna defend my beating heart. Defend my beating heart. You knocked on my window and slept on my pillow, then said you had found your place. Not sure if I want this. You don't think that I notice. This isn't like giving you space. I don't wanna play the quiet type when I'm near you, pretending that I don't know who you are every time I see you. Tell me, is this part of it?
What's up, y'all? Sean here. Welcome to Tuesday Night Studio Sessions. My name is Sean. I'll be your host. Tonight, we are going to talk about DJI FPV and why I think DJI is changing the game of FPV. I've been playing around with FPV for a good maybe month and a half, 2 months, trying to figure out all the ins and outs. I've made some mistakes. I've had to rewire some things. I've had to reconfigure things. I've had to bind things. I've had to do all kinds of stuff. And as a photography drone pilot or operator, it's had its ups and downs. It's had its frustrations. And I want to just kind of discuss DJI for a bit and why I think the DJI has made changes to the industry that I think are going to stick, and hopefully it'll take us into a new era of FPV. So this is just a pre-show. So for the next 20 minutes, we're just going to chill out and hang, and I'll really get into my presentation at 7. So I'm seeing in the chat, we got Eat More Possum here, we got Nacho, and we got Steven Drones. The only 3 that I've seen so far. Talking about snow, talking about Nacho's new ride. Looks pretty sweet. I haven't had time to do anything this week. We launched our application at work yesterday, went live with it. So the last month has been insane for me. Completely insane. But now that has happened, I feel like things at work are going to die down a little bit. And we are going to, I'm going to have a little bit more time to focus on the YouTube channel and my life, to be honest. So yeah, what are y'all up to besides getting all covered in snow? Steven Drone sent me some pictures of his snow at his house, and it was pretty thick. I saw 27 inches Nacho got. That's a lot of snow. Nacho got a new vehicle. He got a Subaru. What is it, Nacho? What is your new car? It's a Subaru something or other. It kind of looks like the newer version of the Outback. Kind of a hybrid SUV, off-roading type vehicle. It probably gets good gas mileage. It's kind of like my Jeep. My Jeep is not the gas hog. It actually is very good on gas, but it has a sand, snow, and ice mode. Wait, sand, snow, and mud modes. So it'll actually, I can go off-roading with it, but it has crappy tires on it, so I need bigger tires. Nacho got a Subaru Crosstrek. So that's pretty awesome. For those of you that have been around the channel for a while, Nacho is is the guy here that rides motorcycles cross country, or at least that's what he was doing when I met him. Since COVID, he's been not doing as much traveling, but now he's got a nice ride to trek through, to cross trek through the 27 inches of snow there. So that's pretty cool. Watched some videos from Eat More Possum this week, flying through the orchard. Saw him break some prop guards. Saw his dog being a horrible visual observer. So that was fun to watch. I like seeing y'all's videos, and I like seeing your personality come out. And was it peach cobbler or blueberry cobbler? There was some cobbler thrown in there. That was just kind of a tease for me. I'm diabetic, so whenever those things come up, I'm like, man, I love cobbler. Actually, I don't know that I don't like the fruit part of cobbler, but I love like the buttery, crusty part of cobbler. It's like sugar and butter. Probably that's all it is. Maybe some graham cracker crumbs in there. But love some cobbler. Nacho said he wishes he had personality. Nacho, I think you're all personality. I think if we got to the real Nacho, you'd be quiet. When you're making your videos, your personality comes out. Eat More Possum had blackberry cobbler, hand-picked wild berries. Oh, so the blackberries are wild? You don't like grow them specifically? That's cool. That's awesome. So I got in the mail this week. We're going to talk about it a little later. This is the iFlight 1H2. It is probably the closest thing to Brent's GEPRC rocket. I think they're the same size, 2-inch kind of whoop. It's got the same kind of ducts, same size. This one has a Caddx Vista on it. We're going to talk about that and what I learned about a Caddx Vista this week that I didn't like after I bought it. But that's okay. I tell you what, with FPV, no matter how much research I put into something before I buy it, I still get surprised when I get it that something doesn't work the way that I think it should. Part of it is just me not being as familiar with this hobby as I am with cameras and drones in general. But yeah, it's interesting. And I'm excited to talk about what I want to talk about tonight. Pretty excited about it. As you guys can see on the iFlight Bumblebee, I got a waterproof case, not because I need it to be waterproof for my GoPro session, but because I need it to be as strong as possible when I bounce off the ground. So there's that. Pretty excited about that. I also got that red eye on my DJI goggles is a rapid fire analog module, so I can run analog and digital from those goggles. So we're going to talk about that a little later. So if you're interested in any of those things, stay tuned. We're also going to talk about lipos and how I think lipos suck. Totally and completely suck. And why something that's on my wish list for DJI. I've seen rumors of a drone that DJI is supposedly coming out with this month. So I am really excited about it, and I hope there are a few things on it that I would expect. So if it meets all of my expectations, then I might have to get it. But I think if what is rumored comes out, then I am super excited about it. So, sorry, I got distracted by what I want to talk about tonight. Nacho got some socks in the mail this week. That's nice. Or the type of socks that Lieutenant Dan always made sure that Forrest had a clean pair of. It's like OD green, double layer. I don't remember. Brent feels my pain. Check this out. He ordered a rocket with Crossfire, not realizing he needed a Crossfire compatible remote. Who'd have thought that? I don't know if my remote has the remote that I have back there, the red one. It's over there. It's a FR Sky remote, which is one of the big players, and Crossfire is the other player. But I feel like there's a module that you can add to that remote so that you can use it as a Crossfire remote as well. But I'm not sure. Let me look that up. And if you're new to the channel, I'm the kind of person that doesn't like to be super polished, super scripted. I like to say things on the fly, off the cuff. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I feel like I engage with my audience a little bit better that way. What I talk about on this channel is brought up by users. With Nacho, Nacho and I met on Facebook because of 360 cameras. I change what I talk about on my YouTube channel because of conversations with people like Nacho. I saw, Brent playing around with his rocket this week. And Dad Random, I saw some of the wrecks he had this week, and I'm feeling the same pains that you guys are feeling, so that I can talk to those things, and hopefully together as a community we can learn together. I've always been the person that learns from his mistakes, and I try not to make the same mistake again. Whenever I do something wrong, right then and there, I figure out how to get it right, and then I try not to make that same mistake again. Now, there's times that I get forgetful or I say the wrong thing. That just happens. But I'm the kind of person that tries to figure things out. And when I learn something, it sticks. So if you're into that kind of thing, stick around. Yep, so the controller that I have back there, the FR Sky X Lite, it has an adapter for Crossfire as well. So with that one remote, I can fly Crossfire drones, I can fly FR Sky drones. With my DJI goggles, I have a faceplate on it that turns the autovisual in. Autovisual. What does AV stand for? Is it audio and video? Man, I forgot that term. But the AV in to the DJI goggles, I can run analog drones through it with the rapid fire in the front. So I feel like with those two things back there, if I ever need a Crossfire compatible receiver, I could just get that module and then I'm set. The only problem is with Betaflight keeps updating and some things go obsolete. So that might end up being the case later. So Nacho bought a new car. Socks are all he can afford. That's funny. Excuse me. I just sneezed us into standby. All right. So what time is it? 6:52. We'll hang out for another 8 minutes. There's only 3 people here, but I'm always amazed at how many people actually watch the video. We've got people in here chatting away, so that's good. You guys are having a good conversation. It shows there's only 3 people in here, but I'm okay with that. And I'm desperately, hopefully now that things are kind of died down at work, hopefully I will be able to crank out some more videos for you guys. I've been trying to get back into the YouTube channel, but I don't know. I feel like I'm becoming a hermit working from home and being stuck in my office all day. Whoa, I'm completely out of focus. I didn't like that. So don't take a drink if you go out of focus. Actually, I'm not happy with that at all. But that's okay. That's what we're going to have to deal with it. I can't change it now. So Stephen Drones asked, I believe it was Steve, last week about my backyard Paradenofi trips. And I went out Sunday to do a flight plan of my backyard. I was so excited. I went out there, got my drone out of the case, got my phone all hooked up. I've got a welcome mat that's on the back porch, and I put that in the yard so that I can take off from it. And I grabbed the drone and I stepped off my patio, and there's about an 8-inch drop, maybe a foot drop off into the yard. And I rolled my ankle. I screamed like a girl. And those of you that have seen my backyard from the drone, there's like this big open area, and then there's all these condos kind of across from it. And now there's like houses that they're building right behind my house. But when I screamed like a girl, it went across the yard, it went across that big field, hit those condos, and echoed back to me. So it was kind of funny. I was like, ah, ah, ah. We have our house has tall ceilings on the bottom floor, so there's so many steps upstairs, which never has been an issue before, but walking upstairs with a sprained ankle sucks. So that happened. Today I went out to fly the Bumblebee right over there, and it was so windy that I could not fly my Bumblebee. So I just kind of walked around the parking lot a little bit, trying to kind of loosen my muscles up, because right now my muscles are just kind of stiff because of first day it was all wrapped and I iced it and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't a horrible sprain. I've had really bad sprains. One sprain, I popped a muscle off of my calf, so I'm down to a couple muscles on my calf from that. But all that to say, I'm still walking, so we're good. But yeah. So I wanted to talk about a couple things, just some housekeeping stuff. We are getting, so I'll show off the club to you guys. All right, so this is club.shawnidestudios.com. And this is an online forum that I've been trying to start. It's definitely been it's been a little slow, but we have 26 members already, so I'm happy with that. Hopefully it will grow. But I spent the day in introductions. There were probably, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 different posts begging for me to, begging for the admin, how do I post a new topic? And when I got down to it, it was either one guy or a company from Russia spamming the site about like mail order maids or something like that. So I had to go through, I had to ban a bunch of people. I had to block a bunch of IP addresses, and I had to kill a whole bunch of topics. So that's that. I had to nip that in the bud. But with that said, if you guys would like a place to hang out, talk about drones, talk about different type of topics, photography drones, FPV drones, if you're into 360 cameras, I'm going to put some live streaming tips on here. Also planning on doing some StreamYard tutorials, StreamYard backgrounds, and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that type of stuff, the club is kind of where we're going to all put our files. Stephen Drone's got some videos up there. Eat More Possum's got some stuff on there about his SMO 4K that he bought. Just a cool place for us to hang out. I know we chat, but sometimes our chats just kind of disappear once the live stream's over. The club is more of a place where you can post your video, post a photo that you took with your drone, and we have a place that we can go see it. So that's a short little plug for the club. If you like my channel and you like this type of stuff that we talk about here, the club is just another level to hang out. It's completely free. You don't have to do anything but give me all of your information. I'm just kidding. You can put fake information on there if you want to. But the information, the topics and the posts that you put on there, I would like it to be real stuff that we can actually learn from. So that's what the club is. I also want to talk about Shawnide Studios. Shawnide Studios is my website. There are 3 things on here: YouTube videos, shirts and stuff, and Amazon deals. So if you're watching this live stream, you probably know that I'm a YouTuber. My YouTube channel is paid for by merchandise that I create and Amazon deals. So if you like to buy things, if you ever have to buy anything, you can go to my website, click on this Amazon deals link, and click this banner right here. If you click this banner, it goes straight to Amazon, and whatever you purchase on Amazon, I'll get a little bit of residual from it. You won't have to pay anything extra, but I'm kind of treated as a referral. So that would really help the channel. And then these are what's called bounties, which kind of sounds evil. But if you're planning on signing up for a service, such as Amazon Prime, here's a free 30-day trial to Amazon Prime. All of your shipping will be free. So Amazon Prime pays for itself if you buy a lot of things on Amazon. But if you sign up here, then I'll get a residual from that as well. If you like merchandise, if you want to buy t-shirts or hats or anything that I've designed, here's an online store of different designs that I've created. I think it's funny they put the They put the laces behind it. But right now there's just drone stuff up there. There will be FPV stuff since we're talking about FPV tonight. Planning on putting some goggles. Nacho had a great idea last week about killing batteries is my superpower. I thought that was pretty cool. So I'll probably put something up there like that. And then here's just Sean Eyed Studios merchandise. If you like my logo and you want to support me and be like, who made that awesome logo? You can tell them about me. Steven Drones has purchased some of the, I think it's the hexacopter design he bought, but similar to this one. He's got a hat and a hoodie, and then I think Nacho has a shirt like this. So yeah, so that is my merchandise. So any purchase will be greatly appreciated, but it's not required to be my friend or to be my subscriber. All right. So with that said, also, if you want to help out the channel, you could also super chat in my live stream. That's an option as well. Or just go to my webpage every day. I have ads on here that run. So all the ads should be relevant to stuff that you like. It's all run by Google. And then all these links down here are ways to help me out. So here's a music service, StreamYard. Here's a $10 discount for StreamYard, which is what we're using right now to stream. There's also a discount for Streamlabs. So that would take a little effort. But I probably could pull that off. How would I pull that off? I don't know what the legalities are of using like an avatar builder to make a caricature of myself. I can make a caricature of myself and then adjust it enough so it would be legally mine. I could probably do something like that. That's a good idea, but I don't know if I'll have to play with that. I don't know the effort. I don't know if a lot of people want a picture of me on their chest. I mean, I know I'm a sexy man, but come on. Like 98% of my viewers are middle-aged men. So I don't know that that's the kind of shirt you guys want to wear. I don't know. Maybe you do. Brent's got some interesting ideas about putting me on a shirt. I think if I was a superhero, I wouldn't be in tights. Are they all in tights? I guess they all kind of are in spandex or something, aren't they? I think for me, I'd rather be like Batman or something. Or do you guys remember that Steve Urkel robot? Maybe I could be something like that. Well, it's 7:06, so we're going to run the intro, and then we're going to get into it. You guys ready for this? I haven't done my intro in a long time. So here we go. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Tuesday Night Studio Sessions. My name is Sean. I'll be your host. Tonight we're going to talk about FPV stuff. We've chewed through the pre-show. We've had a good conversation about snow and new cars, new socks, ways to caricature me and put me on a t-shirt. So yeah, let's get straight into the presentation. Where this topic came from, it's been kind of stemming for a little while. About back in July, I purchased this guy. This is a Cinewhoop from iFlight. This is a 6S Cinewhoop, which takes 6-cell batteries. I've got some 4S batteries that I'm about to try on it, but it is a drone that is meant to carry an action camera, and it's meant to fly really smooth, but it's also meant to fly FPV as well. So I can look through this little camera and fly it just like I'm flying a video game. So I was super excited to get into it. I watched some reviews on it. I figured it would be a great introduction into the hobby. But I got a little scared when I bought it. If you guys know me and have watched this channel at all, you know that I'm cautious. I try to do things, I take risks, but I like to take them in a safe manner. I definitely don't want to hit people with my drones. I don't want to hit buildings with my drones. I don't want to tear up property with my drones. And I also don't want to waste a lot of money. If I buy something, it's for a purpose, and I want to accomplish a goal with it. So I saw some beautiful footage of Cinewhoops and how they kind of handle themselves. You can fly. A lot of the smaller ones can fly through little tiny gaps, so it's like almost like a bug or a small bird flying through, pipes and sewers and flying indoors and all that kind of stuff. So I have, if you look right, oh, that's the wrong finger. If you look right there, that's DJI Mavic Air 2. And that is the type of drone that I've flown for the last 4 years on this channel. 5 years. We're pushing 5 years, guys. July 4th will be 5 years on this this YouTube channel. But I've flown a lot of photography drones, and it seems like that just flying photography drones is getting a little stale for me. Okay. I will always love it, and I will always do it. But as a reviewer, I got kind of bored with my own channel, if that makes sense. So I'm always trying to improve myself. I'm always trying to take things to the next level. 1 year I decided I was just going to live stream every week, and I've done that for 2 years now. And it's one of my favorite parts of my week is live streaming to you guys. So with reviewing new drones that come out, I feel like it's the same old story. Like, oh, now we have another drone that folds up, that flies in the air, that follows me, that I can do an orbit with it, and it takes 4K video. And oh, this year we added HDR to it, or this year we added some extra sensors here. But for the most part, I keep getting new drones, and they keep kind of doing the same things. I got the Evo 2 this year, and I really should fly that more than I have. But I got a drone that will take 6K video, and it's beautiful video. But I was seeing all these FPV drones fly around, and I watch Ken Heron a lot. I watch Dad Random, and they've kind of switched gears a little bit to FPV, I watch Drone Worship some, and then even Original Jobo. He's got like, he does photography drones, but he also does FPV drones at the same time. So I feel like that is the path that a lot of people are going in. So I'm wanting to go into that direction as well. But I am a beginner at FPV. So for the last 2 months, I have gone through analog drones and digital drones. I've gone through Fat Sharks to rapid fire. I've gone through digital goggles to analog goggles. I've gone through tiny little drones to bigger drones. I have chewed through LiPo batteries like no other. I'm amazed at how fragile LiPo batteries are. So, with all that said, I come from a world where let me just get the DJI drone over here real quick. So, this is the Mavic Air 2. I don't remember how much I spent on it. Maybe it was $800. I don't remember how much this drone cost. But this drone is solid. This drone has sensors on it that keeps me from hitting things. This drone has a compass on it, and it has a GPS unit on it. I can push a button and this drone will come back to me. I can draw a square on the screen and this drone will follow me. There is a notification on my screen as to where I am as on the map compared to where this drone is. So if I fly this drone way over there, there's an arrow pointing back at me. Okay. There is a battery on here. It's probably dead now. But there's a battery, and when I push on the battery, it tells me how much juice is in that battery. I can leave this battery on the charger for a month, and it'll still be okay, because there's technology in this battery that tells the charger to stop charging it when it's full. And that's all this drone. There's a gimbal on this drone that keeps the horizon where it needs to be. I can also put this drone into FPV mode, and the gimbal will slowly follow, but be super smooth and stable. This is an awesome drone. This is the controller that came with that drone that I can plug my phone into it, and I can see what's coming out of this drone. I can also hook this controller up to my DJI goggles and see what's going on through the camera. This also tells me how much juice is in it. This comes with that drone, so it's already bound. But if I had to buy a controller if I had to buy another controller to go with that drone, you can bind these controllers to that drone. And since the drone was manufactured by the same person that made the receiver, it's a seamless situation. Okay? So that's what I want to say about DJI drones and how far they have come in the 4 years that I've been doing this channel. I feel like DJI and Parrot and just about any photography drone company that's out there, I would compare them to an Apple. And the reason I'm saying that, and I've got a plan here, so just stick with me. I would compare those to an Apple computer where the company that manufactures that computer develops the software that goes on that computer. So the hardware and the software is completely compatible. Same way with an iPhone. Everything is manufactured by the same company. There's apps that are made by other people, but they have all these regulations so that they're safe, secure apps to go on that phone. Okay? That's why I love Apple so much. And I feel like DJI is a lot like Apple. Okay? So let's talk about Android. Android phones, companies make hardware. Well, one company makes the software, and then it ships that software to all these different manufacturers. Anybody can make an Android phone and put that Android software on there. What Android software has to do is it has to be compatible with many different processors, many different manufacturers, so it's a bloated software. Now, Android over the years has gotten better at just downloading the packets that you need for your specific phone, so that's good. But it's one of those things where it's a larger community of manufacturers, but there are a lot of ways you can screw up an Android phone. You can sideload stuff. You can put viruses on your phone. You can really mess up your Android phone if you don't know what you're doing. Okay? Apple is a lot hard. Like, my Apple computer does not have antivirus software on it. Does not have pop-ups, those kind of things. So I feel like Android is a lot like FPV drones. Anybody can make these components. Anybody can make motors. They can make ESCs. They can make, the flight controllers. You've got all these different camera manufacturers. You've got all these different people making tiny components that you can just buy them and just solder them all together, and they can kind of work. You can also really screw things up if you don't know what you're doing. And PCs are the same way. Now, I built this PC that I'm talking to you on right now with components that I bought and installed myself. So I am also very into that kind of stuff. But you can definitely get a PC wrong. And I think PCs are a lot better now than they used to be. But those are the differences in these two hobbies. I think photography drones are made for beginners that just want to get up in the air. And I think the FPV hobby is something that is very, it's very complex. It's very hard to get into. And that's why I think DJI is changing the game when it comes to drones. So let's talk about what I want to talk about tonight. I see everybody left, but it's okay. Actually, let me switch to that. Nope, wrong one. That one. Let me kill that. I'll kill that. So, well, actually, let me get back out of that. So, since I've been working with the different drones that I've been purchasing, I purchased a Mobula 7 because everybody said the Mobula 7 is what you need to start out on. I got a FR Sky version of it, hooked it up to Betaflight. The people that I bought it from on Amazon had everything backwards. So there's a mode 1 and a mode 2 version. So the throttle was in the wrong spot. So that was the first thing that I had to go in and fix. With the Mobula, 7, supposed to be an intro into the hobby. I spent hours reconfiguring that drone just so I could get it to arm. I spent probably a week. Well, I had no idea how to use Betaflight, so I had to learn Betaflight. Then once I learned Betaflight, I found all these videos of how different people configure their drones, and had to realize myself, as a smart person that understands code and changing things around, that I had to. So there's auxiliary switches, and there's the throttle up and down, which is what I'm used to. But then there was this TEAR configuration, so I had to switch all that around. Then I had to switch, it wasn't bind and fly. It said it was bind and fly, but it was bind and then make a whole bunch of adjustments and then fly, is what it was. I had to learn how to program my controller. I had to learn how to program my different auxiliary switches to arm the drone. So all drones, like a lot of the photography drones, arm themselves when you hit the takeoff button. But in the FPV hobby, you have to arm the drone, which gets the propeller spinning. So once you flip the switch to arm the drone, then the motors start spinning, and then you give it a little throttle, and then it lifts itself off the ground. Okay. Well, I had to create a arm switch. I had to pick one of the switches that was on my controller, and then make that the arm switch. I'm getting kind of used to. I went and looked at some of my other controllers and where their arm switches were. So I kind of want all my drones to kind of be similar. So when I get out in the field, I don't have to figure out which drone turns the motors on. But I had to do that. So this little drone that was going to be awesome, it had a Caddx turtle in it, and it was supposed to be just awesome. I played around for a while just trying to get it to function. And then when I went through all of that, found out that one of the motors didn't work. And then I was like, I finally got this drone the way I want it, and it won't even take off now. It just, as soon as I gave it throttle, it'd do a flip, because 3 motors would go off, and then the other one would just not move at all. So I ended up, thank God I bought it on Amazon, so I just sent it back to Amazon, got my money back, and I purchased an iFlight drone. And the reason I purchased an iFlight drone is this drone, I'm all thumbs tonight. This drone is built great. I would say, so I've gone through Emax drones. I've gone through, the Mobula was a Happy model. I have a Tiny Whoop, and all of those drones are very cheap compared to this iFlight drone. This drone, it's got a carbon fiber body. It's got these 3D printed ducts. It's got foam protection. Like, I could slam this into a wall and it wouldn't hurt it. I've bounced it off of the concrete and it didn't break. Just wonderfully made drone. So that is why I'm going to start going with iFlight drones. And the reason we're talking about DJI is because this drone happens to have a DJI Air unit in it. So I talked to you guys about how many problems I had trying to figure out how to bind. Oh, and the bind switch on this drone was like hidden on a board. So I had to buy like a magnifying glass just so I could find the stupid bind button on this board. That makes no sense to me. That this little flight controller has this tiny little button that nobody can see. You watch all these YouTube videos of people, all these YouTubers taking screwdrivers and poking them on a circuit board. how stupid is that? I don't understand it. And then, like, I saw one guy who was like, you shouldn't do this, but I'm a professional, so I can do it. That is not how you teach someone else how to do something. You don't say, you don't put your fingers on the end of a barrel of a gun and say, well, don't you do this. I know what I'm doing. It's like someone like trying to whittle and like pulling the knife towards their face or something. Like, anyway, that's a ramble. I shouldn't go on. Yeah, Eat More Possum says, do like I did and rip off the USB B port so you'll never again have to mess with the beta flight. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I get beta flight, and I guarantee you beta flight has come a long way. It actually has a decent interface. There's been a lot of work that has gone into beta flight to get it to where it is. But I guess what I like about iFlight, even though this has a DJI Air unit in it, and there is a bind button on the drone. That's an easy button to push. And there's wonderful tutorials on DJI's website. And it's just like binding your Xbox controller. You push a button on the drone, you push a button on the goggles, you wait a couple seconds, and then they're talking to each other. And then the controller is a little bit more complex because there's 3 buttons you got to push at the same time. But once you do that, it's done. With my FR Sky controller, let me show you guys this. And I love this controller, by the way. I think it's cool. I love the way that it looks and the shape that it is and all that kind of stuff. Throttle's down. It's hard to do this upside down. There we go. I don't know if you guys can see that. You probably can't see that. But so you guys can't see that at all. Oh well. I'll turn that off then. But so my FR Sky, with that controller, I have to hook up. Like I can create, I think that has maybe 64 channels, so I can hook up 64 different drones to that controller, but I have to name them all correctly so that I know which drones goes on which channel. Okay. The FPV system, the DJI FPV system, it just remembers what drones they are. So you turn your drone on, and your controller and your goggles figure out which drone you just turned on. How simple is that? It's simplified. There's one caveat with the DJI goggles, and that is there's this long cable that comes out of it, and you have to use a LiPo battery, which LiPos suck. But in the FPV hobby, everybody uses LiPos, so their thought there was that everybody already has LiPo batteries, so it's all good. But from what I heard, and this is a rumor, that the DJI FPV Goggle 2 some people already have them in their hands. They keep saying they're here, but they're not here. Those are just some reviewers that, get, they're allowed to leak stuff, I guess. But you can't purchase them on the website. But the fact they're DJI Goggles 2, we're going to talk about something tonight that I hope is going to happen. I really do. So let's see what you guys are saying. So Stephen Jones says, I think I will stay with the H+. Just need to find new subjects to video on. Yeah, that's another thing. Like finding new places to like scout out new locations to video. Yeah, I'm the same way. So Eat More Possum says multiple drones stay bound to the controllers and goggles. Yep. So I have 2 drones right now that are bound to my goggles and my remote control. And when I plug the battery in, that's another thing. And these drones do it too. But there's no on switch. You know how you turn this drone on? You plug the battery in. Like, why? Like, this is 2021. And I feel like even though these iFlight drones are built very well, carbon fiber, everything is in a specific spot, just beautiful little drones. I still don't understand why we have to plug in a battery. Something else that I think is a con is some of the binding sequences with these drones. Is you've got to find that tiny little microscopic button, hold down the button, and plug a battery in at the same time. So let me show you how to plug a battery in. You need 2 hands to make that connection happen. So how are you supposed to push a tiny little button with a screwdriver, trying to keep it from slipping off, and plug that battery in at the same time? I'll understand who thought up that procedure. Now I get it. You can figure out. I mean, we're smart beings. We can figure that out. But who thought up that user experience? So with all of that, and with the lipos, the reason I don't like lipos right now is because the ones that I've used, I have destroyed 3 batteries because I was in the studio trying to get my goggles bound and all that kind of stuff, and I was updating firmware and stuff like that, and ended up discharging my battery too far, so now I can't charge it. So there's $20. And then there's another, like all the batteries that I've destroyed, learning how to go back to the 80s and use LiPo batteries again. It's been costly. I'll just say that. LiPos have a tendency to blow up, so you have to kind of treat them, you have to baby them like you have like this canister of plutonium or something. That's what I love about the DJI system. DJI has a smart battery. My Paradenofi has smart batteries that you can just plug in, charge, and then unplug. I had to buy a whole LiPo battery charger just to get the batteries charged. I had to find a battery balancer, like it has a balance board, all kinds of stuff that there's no easy manual. The Happy Model drone that I got, the Mobula 7, it came with a Xerox copy of a manual, and half of it was like half of it you couldn't even read because the ink had gone out on the printer. So I had to find another version of a PDF of that manual, and I could not find the exact manual that I needed. I found something that was kind of similar, but because of the components of these drones, they change them. They upgrade components, but the manual is still stuck in the version 1 of the drone or whatever. Anyway, it's been frustrating, to say the least, to figure out even how to do it. So I don't know what new people do in this hobby. I at least have the experience of flying a drone. And, I think I have the controls down pretty well. Like the right stick is just kind of natural, and the left stick is natural too. I'm just not used to babying the throttle and that kind of stuff. So Igor Possum says you can use a liquid ion battery for the goggles. It's good to know. And Stephen Drode says, can't you just put a small switch on it? Yes, you can. If you build drones yourself, then you can put on it whatever you want to. But the ones that other people build, like iFlight, they don't come with power buttons. But that's another thing that's some people like about the hobby, is you can build the drone the way that you want it to be built. If you buy a drone from DJI, you're stuck with what they decided was a drone was supposed to be like. But that's a very valid point. I'm pretty sure. Now you and all the things that I said, you can add a compass to it. You can add a GPS unit to it. But there's all this different program. You can put return to home on it and all that kind of stuff. But I just think it's interesting that we use such. I'm going to sneeze again. Whew. Man, I don't know why I'm sneezing tonight. But I guess what's interesting to me with this hobby is it's kind of presented as a cheap way to get into flying a drone. But, like with what I said about the batteries, I think I've lost maybe $60 or $80 in batteries just trying to figure out what I'm doing. And I've got Sparks and Mavics and Minis and like all the DJI drones that I've had, never had a battery go bad. Now I know that happens, but usually you're like 500 flights in or something like that, not the second flight. So when you're disarming a bomb, it's not always the red wire. I learned that watching TV. No, I'm just kidding. Stephen Jerome said, cut the red wire and put one on it. There are a lot of people that have no electronics experience. My dad was an electrical engineer, so I understand how to splice wires and solder and stuff like that, but not a lot of people do. So that's why I think DJI is going to change the FPV game. And they've started with the DJI Air FPV system. I've got two drones sitting over here. I've got the iFlight Bumblebee. It took me less than a minute to bind my controller and my goggles with this drone. Because like I said earlier, you push the button on the goggles, you push the button on the drone, and then they work. You push 3 buttons on the controller, and you push 1 button on the drone, and it works. And I could fly right then. And exactly the same is for this. This does not have the air unit in it. This has a Cadex Vista, which is a partnership with DJI. So The Caddx Vista is a version of the Air unit that's a lot smaller and built by Caddx, not by DJI. And the biggest difference is this drone, which I didn't know until I got it. I started looking for the SD slot. The Caddx Vista does not have an SD slot on it, so there's no onboard recording on the drone. There's only recording in the goggles. So you only get a 720 feed through the goggles on this drone. But on this drone, there is an SD slot. So you have 1080p onboard recording. So even if you lose signal or you have weak signal with your goggles, you're still recording really good video on this drone itself. But both of those drones bind seamlessly with the FPV goggles and remote. They send telemetry back and forth. They talk back and forth, and yeah, and it's a digital system as opposed to an analog system. Analog has lower latency, but the digital system is so clear that it makes flying a breeze. It's really awesome. Eat More Possum says, lithium ion for the Bumblebee, less power for tricks, but longer flight time and more forgiving on charging and discharging. But initial cost is a bit higher. I see that one dude on YouTube has tried it. Oh yeah, that guy. I don't know who that guy is. But yeah, that's awesome. I'll look into lithium ion. So I have a question for you, Brent. So so my FR Sky, that's another thing. I bought this FR Sky drone, or this receiver, from a guy on Facebook, and he said it never came with a charger. So I had to go on Amazon and find a charger to figure out how to charge this thing. Is this what you're talking about, Brett? Is this a liquid ion? It reminds me of one of the pictures that you posted where there were kind of 4 of them all put together. I'm just curious. Instago on the little drone will give you 1080p. Yep. Yes, that is true. And I had it out to show you guys, but then I lost it. Oh, great. So this is something I kind of made up to put on. I'm going to screw it on the drone, but I want to take some product shots. So I am planning on putting the Insta360 Go on it. So the battery that I just held up, Brent takes 4 of those and builds a pack out of it. So that might be something I do. We'll see. So I have talked enough about what I like and dislike about the hobby so far. So I want to get into why I think DJI is going to change the game, just because of the history I have with DJI. And I'll just go off and say all the drones that I've had from DJI, just to let you guys know how familiar I am with the company. Started out on the DJI Phantom Standard, DJI Phantom 3 Standard. Then I got the Mavic Pro. Then I got a Spark. Then I got a Mavic Air. Then I got a Mavic Mini. And then I got the Mavic Air 2. Is that it? I feel like that's it. But I've had 7 DJI drones, 7 different DJI drones. All of them have smart batteries that are easy to charge, that have indicators on them telling you how much juice is in them. All of the applications that fly those drones have warning at about 33% battery life to tell you to come back home. All of them have return to home on them. All of them have maps, GPS, compasses in them. All of them had that in it. Okay. With the FPV Air, with the FPV system, and let's go into the website. So with the DJI Digital FPV System, what they did was they created this unit that has the brains of the drone already in it. Has a camera that's better than any analog system out there, goggles, and a remote that works seamlessly with this air unit. And what they say is the digital FPV system was designed for the drone racing industry. It consists of the DJI FPV air unit module, DJI FPV camera, DJI FPV goggles, and DJI FPV remote control, all of which are packed with powerful features and serve a significant role in the deployment of our HD low latency FPV system. We've redefined drone racing, delivering lower latency rates, stunning HD resolution, and most importantly, an unforgettable FPV flying experience. So let's talk about kind of what they offer. So the signal that goes to the goggles is 720p, 120 frames per second. And the frames per second is very important because when you're racing a drone or you're flying really, really fast, you want it to keep up. So 120 frames per second, make sure that you see every little thing. If a bug flew by at 30 frames per second, you might miss it. But at 120 frames per second, you might see that. 8 drones can be flown simultaneously. So I don't know that you would want to fly 8 at the same time, but you can fly, what I think this is saying, that you can put 8 drones on one controller and 8 drones on the goggles. I know my goggles have 8 channels on them, so maybe that's what that means. Integrated control for the DJI FPV race, 4-in-1. I'm not sure what that means, but I think they all talk to each other. 7 millisecond low latency. And then onboard recording for the air unit is 1080, 60 frames per second. Okay. And I've played some video for you guys. There's a video on my channel called Flight of the Bumblebee that was recorded with the Bumblebee back there on the air unit. So it's beautiful. We're not going to watch the video right now. But all of these things talk to each other. And it shows that the RC has long distance control. If you're familiar with DJI and OcuSync and stuff like that, they're industry leaders on connection and not losing visual representation of what you're flying. My Paradanafi has kind of a weak signal. Once you get like a mile out, then the signal starts Oh, okay. So, Eat More Possum says 8 drone pilots can fly at once on the 8 channels. So that's what that means. So if you've got a race, the race can have 8 people in it. So here's a close-up of the goggles. It's kind of funny. So yeah, here's kind of a short video of FPV. So that's kind of cool. HD image quality, we talked about that already. Instant playback. So you've got a video player in your goggles. You also have, so you've got an SD card in your goggles that you can record to. You've got an SD card in your air unit that you can record to. You can record 720 on your goggles. You can record 1080 on the air unit itself while it's flying. And you can turn like heads-on display, or you can on-screen display. You can turn that on in your recordings if you want. Compatible with analog video transmission. DJI FPV system can be used with analog image transmission via third-party receiver, allowing users to switch between AV and digital video transmissions. So that's what this is right here. So I have a third-party rapid fire on the front of my goggles, and it's wired into the AV input, so I can switch over to an analog system. Here is there's focus mode, and so in focus mode, most of the bit stream is placed in the center of the video when signals worsen, providing clearer. So I talked about this in one of my videos. I was like, it seems like the video in the middle is a lot better than the video on the edges, and that's what focus mode does. You can see it's kind of choppy and pixelated on the edges, but it's focused in the middle. And the reason they do that is so you can see where you're going. It's kind of like if you had frost all over your windows and you just kind of scratch the middle part just so you can see in front of your car. Stable and clear video transmission. Most pilots rely on analog video transmission, which can result in poor image resolution and signal interference. On the contrary, DJI's new digital transmission solution ensures a smooth video experience and consistently stable signal connection. So this video on the right, this is what you're used to seeing when you watch people's FPV YouTube videos. It's really crappy video. And as a video creator, if I'm going to put something on my YouTube channel, I want it to look good. I'm okay with putting like, if I was flying underneath my furniture in my house, I'm okay putting some crappy video on there because it's fun. But if I went out to this location to fly over this beautiful landscape, why would I want to record it in 480 crappy analog signal video? I wouldn't. So this is what digital FPV looks like in the goggles. Now a lot of people will fly like this, and I actually have the other iFlight that I have, drone that I have coming in. It's a Micro B, and it has a Caddx turtle in it, and it's an analog system, but the video feed's a lot better than this. But as soon as you get like a tree in between you and the drone or anything like that, you get all these, watch the video like warble right there. You get this like static interference. So innovative design, convenient channel control, immersive experience, designed for comfort. So this is where it talks about 1080 aerial recording. Oh, let's see what we got. Be more possum. I bought prescription lenses for mine. Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know you could get, I don't wear glasses, so I've never even thought about that, but that's kind of neat. I know a lot of people, when they talk about VR, there's like a spacer that comes with your VR headset that kind of pushes the goggles out a little bit so that your glasses will fit in there. But that's really cool. 1080 aerial footage, embedded remote controller receiver. Users can wirelessly connect their DJI FPV unit to the FPV remote controller without having to purchase additional receivers. This reduces flight preparation time significantly. So I want to talk about this. Brent talked about tonight that he bought a drone and didn't know he needed a with a crossfire receiver in it. That's another thing, trying to figure out this whole FPV world, is what receiver I had and what it would be compatible with. There's what I've seen out there is FR Sky. I've seen Crossfire. But people always put it on their descriptions of their drones, well, this has the FR Sky XM Plus with telemetry or without telemetry, or there's all these extra things you have to like. Well, is that compatible with what I have or not? I wish they would say, here's a list of all the controllers it's compatible with, but they don't. Just like whenever you bought software and it was like compatible with Windows 95 with 2 megabytes of RAM, like there's all these things you have to know about your computer before you buy the software. It's the same kind of thing in the FPV world. It's just, I feel like it was a hobby created by software engineers, but the normal consumer has no way of getting into the hobby because it's so complex. We build software where I work, and it's amazing to me how disconnected the developers are to the end users. I'm in user experience. I'm a user experience engineer, and so my job is to learn from our UX research when we sit people in front of the application and see if they couldn't figure out how to click that button or whatever. And I'm kind of the middleman, so maybe I understand that better than most people because that's my job every day. But I feel like if something's going to end up in Best Buy, there's going to be user experience testing that's been done on that product, and it's going to be simple to use. But if something's on Banggood or AliExpress or a lot of these FPV, Get FPV, a lot of these websites where you buy drones, it'll tell you what's in the drone, but you got to know what that is. Bind and fly drones generally are put together good enough that it'll fly with a couple tweaks, but this air unit just kind of does everything for you, and I love it. Here's the remote control. One thing you got to know with the remote control is there is a mode 1 and a mode 2. So you want to pick the version that matches your country. And I'm going to get that messed up if I say it right now. Pretty sure mode 2 is America and mode 1 is European. So it's like in America, we drive on the right side of the road, but in Europe, they drive on the left side of the road. It's about the same thing. The throttle's on the left hand or on the right hand. If you buy a drone At Best Buy in America, it's going to be mode 2, I think. But the throttle is going to be on the left. If you buy it in Europe, it'll probably be on the right. That's the only difference. That's the only thing there. So there's standard mode. These are different types of scenarios with the recording mode. Standard mode reduces color loss and preserves more original detail, improving daytime image quality. Racing mode, the image is high contrast, helping pilots distinguish obstacles throughout the course. And LED mode increases color saturation on LED lights and reduces noise during night races, allowing pilots to track the location of their air units easily. So LED mode is something you would fly if there were LEDs all over the racetrack you were racing on. So yeah, there's links in the description of this video to buy the digital FPV system from DJI. Again, that's an affiliate link. People seem to have to say that all the time. So yeah, the last thing I want to talk about is, I have one more thing to show you. iFlight is my new favorite company when it comes to FPV. The reason I say that is I've gone through several on Amazon that were just kind of crappy drones. The Mobula was, I think, built really, really nicely, but as much as that thing cost, it should have been built better. I had to take the drone apart to bind it, because when I put it in beta FPV and put it into bind mode, it didn't work. So I had to actually go find the bind button. It was all up in there. And then when I went to put it back together, it was just this really, really cheap cover made out of plastic that I had already stripped the holes. So it wasn't built very well. But on these iFlight quads, I'll show you the one that I don't have yet. No, it's not a Mega V. Is it a Mega V? All right, let's just go to Cinequads. This is the Cinebee is what I've got on the way. The Cinebee is it's a tiny woot. It is about the same size, from what I understand, as the Mobula that I had. It's a tiny little guy, and it's got the Caddx Turtle version 2 in it. What's crazy about that is it will record 1080 video. This little guy, so I don't have to put my Insta360 Go on this guy. It's still got the little ducts to kind of protect my walls and stuff like that, but I think I'm going to be able to fly it around. It's only 64 grams, so it's a tiny little guy. So that's what I've got coming. But whenever you purchase it, you've got this receiver option, and this is kind of what Brent was talking about and I was talking about earlier. You've got to figure out without RX, so that means you're going to solder one in yourself. Okay, FrSky XN Plus will work with my FrSky, and it's FCC, which is American broadcast signal, but it doesn't have any telemetry. And then the RXSR is FCC as well, which is American, and works with FrSky. Then TBS Crossfire is what you would pick with this one. And then these are the FrSky for Europe. So they have LBT, which is European. So you got to know what your receiver is before you buy it. But then they have all these extras that you can buy. You can buy extra props, you can buy a battery, and it's like a one-stop shop. There are reviews on here. Here's a little video that doesn't work. So Pretty sweet website. I'm just kidding. So that's the one I've got coming. The one I have here, I bought it on Amazon, but it's iFlight, so I'm comfortable with their build quality. Is not on this website, but I believe they started naming it something else. This is the Bumblebee that I have back there, and you can. And they started going with white props and stuff. But again, with the receiver, since this drone comes with the air unit, with the DJI air unit already in it, you can select no additional receiver. I use the DJI FPV radio. So if you have a DJI FPV radio, then you don't need to get any other controller put into it. But I feel like if you got it with an FrSky receiver in it, you could also use either or, I believe. You can add goggles to it. They'll be available on February 10th. So that's 8 days from now. So anyway, you can add all this stuff. So I just want to show you what kind of quads they have at iFlight. You've got everything from these Alpha mini quads, these little tiny whoops, to something like this, which has a Caddx Nebula in it. I believe there's an Alpha 87 as well, but this has a Caddx in it, guys. I think they even have a 4K version of that. Here's the 65. These are kind of neat. These are. This has a DJI Air unit in it. It's a $400 whoop, but these are really neat looking, guys. And it'll hold a full-on GoPro. So there's iFlight. There's links in the description to the iFlight store. And they have some huge quads. Let's see if we got. Oh, that's XL. Oh, those are frames. Yeah. Look at the Titans, guys. Oh, they don't have any. All right, I'll stop plugging them because I'm starting to. Stuff isn't showing up on their website. So the final thing that I really want to talk about. Here's a plug for Dad Random's page. Make sure he pays you for that. But yeah, y'all go over and hang out on Dad Random. He's a cool guy. But I wanted to talk about this. And the reason I think this is about to come out is because DJI updated their goggles. And I think the reason they updated their goggles is because they have a new drone coming out. These are leaks of an FPV drone by DJI. The goggles, they have a version 2 goggles that have already been reviewed on YouTube by several people. And this is kind of what the FPV drone looks like. This is what the controller looks like. What I love about this is the remote controller for DJI Air Unit FPV System binds seamlessly. The goggles bind seamlessly with the Air Unit. If DJI comes out with a drone that flies FPV, I hope it has all of the goodness that DJI drones have had in the past. I hope it has smart batteries so we don't have to buy these cheap, so a DJI battery is like $45 and a LiPo is like $20. Okay. But if you burn through LiPos, but you have one $45 battery that's just going to last for a long time, I would gladly spend twice as much on a battery if I knew I would get hundreds of flights out of that battery as opposed to 2 or 3. And I'm not afraid that I'm going to blow up my house when I charge it. All those different things that I don't like about LiPos. It says early 2021 on this guy's rumor site. So this is techradar.com. TechRadar, not Raider. So here he speculates February 12th, which is after the Chinese New Year. So that's another thing with iFlight. I purchased the drone. They haven't sent it yet. I'm hoping they send it before Friday, or else it'll be stuck in Chinese New Year. Here is a price of what rumors think that it is. So from a prominent member of the DJI owners group on Facebook, claimed that the DJI FPV drone combo package will cost $1,500. Wow. Certainly sounds like a possible ballpark given their current DJI FPV experience combo, which includes goggles, antennas, and air unit with camera and cables needed. So that's pretty expensive, but might be very, very cool. So if this FPV drone does well, we've seen them come out with like the flagship, like the Phantom, and then they came out with the Mavic, which was a smaller, foldable, like more compact version of a 4K drone. Then they came out with a Spark, which was even smaller. And then some other company put DJI parts in their drone and came out with the Trello. So just like iFlight's website, where we've got 5-inch quads, and then we've got little tiny whoops. If this goes well, then DJI has the opportunity to make a bunch of little FPV quads, which I think would be great. We've already seen them build robots that you can put together. It would be awesome if they had kits that you could put together. I think a lot of the FPV fans would love that as well. But that's all I wanted to talk about tonight. I hope you guys liked the show. I put a lot of thought into this today, and I've been thinking about it for a while. But yeah. So I hope you guys like this video. Please like, subscribe to my channel. Click on the bell for notifications. I want to put out more live streams, videos about drones, action cameras, regular cameras, 360 cameras. If you just want to see me talk to people. And yeah. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the chats. And hope you guys have a wonderful week. And I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace out.